Hey, welcome back to my channel. So apparently they're talking about 50-year mortgage, and I'll break it down why they're doing it. What are some pros and cons? Let's dive into it. Hey, this is Shawn, the Realtor guy from Portland, Oregon. So the reason why they're doing this is to make the monthly payments more affordable, because it's kind of like a political game, right? When you're in power, you want to show that you have improved your economy, your home affordability, and home affordability has been one of the biggest issues. And the Trump administration is trying to introduce 50-year mortgage. Now, the first thing is that you don't have to use it, right? You will still hopefully have the 30-year option, which they should. But if you end up using the 50, basically it lowers the monthly payment. So that's the main reason why they're doing it, because they've tried everything else, try to force lower the interest rate. It doesn't work, and the economy is not doing the best as of right now. So they're just trying to find a way to make a win in some sense. Well, let's talk about the cons first. The first one is it will take forever to pay that off. I don't know if like a middle-aged guy, if you buy a first home, right now 40 years is like the average first-time home buyer's age. By the time you're about 90 years old, your house mortgage payment has been paid off. And it makes you wonder, you're basically spending all your life to try to pay off the house that you just bought for the first time. And the other con is that the interest payment that you're going to pay in 50 years is going to be much more, just roughly about a third more. So I didn't run the numbers, but you're going to pay close to about $1 million in just interest payment if you buy about $500,000 home at a current mortgage rate. And so those are the two cons. Can you pay it off within the time that you're alive? And the second is you're paying so much interest payment to the banks. So the bankers are going to be happy with this, right? But as a consumer, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Another con is that because of the monthly payment is going to be lowered, it's going to somewhat artificially raise the home prices, because there's going to be higher demand. When there's a higher demand, the price goes up. And at some point, there's a danger of forced to do 50-year mortgage instead of 30-year, because majority of people are actually using 50-year loan, which then inflates the price, and you may be forced to use that 50-year loan because 30-year loan wouldn't be able to make sense because of the higher price of the purchase price. Another con is that there's going to be higher chance that people are going to buy a home, and if they don't have heirs, and they somehow miss their like mortgage payment because of their medical issue when they're like 85 years old, there's a higher chance that bank may actually foreclose on them. And it's kind of like writing a check. When you write a check, whoever needs to deposit that, if they forget to deposit it, that check is not going to be cashed out, right? And there's always that chance. Now, when it comes to somebody not, be able to or forget to because of medical issues, whatnot, there's a higher chance that the banks can actually take over that house. So that's another con. It's kind of like buying a car and getting a car loan that is like 30 years loan. By year 30, that car is going to be a scrap, more likely, unless you really take care of it and don't drive as much. So it's kind of like, does it make sense? 50-year on a life cycle of human, I don't know, man. It's a tough one. In a capitalistic society, they can just kind of let the market do what it does by not manipulating. 50-year mortgage is definitely one way to manipulate the market, the free market. Let's talk about pros. So you're going to save a lot of money, monthly payment. I just saw that number, about $350 a month if you bought a $500,000 home. So $350 a month, that's a lot of savings. But you have to know that, as I mentioned earlier, you pay about double the interest payment, close to $1.08 million compared to like $580,000. Another way to look at it is kind of like getting a 30-year mortgage and paying it off like you're treating like 15-year mortgage. Then you can actually win, because some months when you don't have a lot of cash flow, maybe pay that 50-year mortgage monthly payment, but when you have some extra cash, get a bonus or something like that, maybe you can put down toward the principal, so that 50-year loan can turn into maybe 25 years, right? And so that's what we've seen many times. Some smart, savvy homeowners, they pay $100, $200, $300 extra a month towards the principal and making the 30-year mortgage into like 18 years. The pro might be that this 50-year mortgage can actually put more buyers into home ownership. I mean, I don't know if it's the right thing or not at this point, but it's kind of borderline subprime in some sense, making subprime home buyers into prime home buyers. That's what 50-year mortgage is. And as I mentioned, I mean, you don't have to use the 50-year mortgage, even it's available, like when people pick 15-year mortgage, even though there's 30-year mortgage available, because you understand the consequences of high interest payment. So, I mean, it's one more option, I guess, in the free society, the capitalism. I guess this is fine, but you have to understand exactly what you're getting into and learn how to beat the system, which is what I mentioned in the earlier part, that you pay down faster than 50 years. And if you understand that, then you may have more flexibility, more options. It may help you to buy that home a little bit sooner than later. It doesn't change not so much about the down payment requirement, but because of the monthly payment will be lowered, you will be able to buy maybe bigger homes, more expensive home. It's not always a good thing, but you just have to understand the system and be smart enough to take advantage. Sometimes I think about one of those like $15,000 just basic car, SUVs or trucks, without like high tech, just mechanical, just good running trucks. I'm kind of getting into that kind of concept a lot more than fancy cars that are going to cost like $100,000. It's unnecessary things being added on, and I'm just talking about it because I feel like you as a consumer could use more basic homes like 1970s 1-level 3-2 single family homes. They're like bread and butter kind of homes, but the reality is the home builders, they don't make enough money nowadays because land is a lot more expensive, and so they try to build like 3-story home on a small footprint, and so that they can charge $900,000 instead of building a 1-level, maybe two-level home, smaller homes at a lower price. And I think there's some good balance between finding something super luxurious versus more utility focused. And I feel like right now American is more utility focused residential real estate, rather than these expensive homes at 3 levels is tough to live in. And so I just want to see that kind of direction, but obviously that's not going to help the builders. So they're basically making a way for the bankers get richer, while it's somewhat deceptive to consumers, because consumers think that it's lower payment, but on the back end, if you actually study the numbers, the consumers pay way more. And so politicians do what they do to keep their power that they have. But to me, this 50-year mortgage has more negative effect than positive side of things. This is something I personally don't like seeing. But again, having more options can be a good thing, but we as a consumer, we need to understand well and try to do the smart thing smart thing to benefit you the most. So stay awake, guys. They're going to find a way to manipulate and take more money away from you if you don't pay attention. That's it for today's video. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think that 50-year mortgage is a good idea? Would you use 50-year mortgage? And would you maybe take my advice and take the mortgage and try to pay off as soon as you can? Yeah, I mean, those are some of my thoughts. So I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Thanks so much for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe if you would. And I'll see you in the next video. By the way, here's one level bread and butter, 3-bedroom single family home for sale right now in Milwaukee, Oregon. Give me a call if you want to know more about it.